with just over 3 months to go until Marvel's Midnight Suns comes out, we're starting to get a lot more information on individual characters in the game. So we have a new series on the channel today where I'll break down the information that we know so far for the various different characters before the game actually comes out. Now, the first character we will be looking at today is Captain America. The information that I've collated, it comes from a wiki that's been set up for the game. It's an absolutely awesome resource. I'll put a link to that in the description below, and it also comes from another YouTube channel that's doing a new series on the game. I'll put a link to that YouTube channel in the comments below as well. It's Christopher Odd, that's the name of that specific creator that is covering it. Now, as mentioned, the character we will be having a look at is Captain America, so everything we know so far we'll be able to cover the general playstyle that he will offer. We get to see a lot of cards that he actually has in his kit as well as their upgrades, and we'll also be able to cover what his relationship bonuses will be that you actually unlock via the Abbey, via talking to other characters as well. So there is a fair amount we know so far. So let's jump in, let's check this out. We'll start off here with a very quick overview of what you can expect from Cap. So he will be a tank style hero to no one's surprise. Within his kit he will have taunt, he'll have a block mechanic where after taunting an enemy you can block a set amount of damage. You can then store up that energy and you can actually release it with some of your moves. We'll be able to see that later on in the video when we check out some of his particular cards. And then on top of the taunt and the block, he's actually got knockback as well. So he will be a tank stroke utility style character, which fits him perfectly really. But that is a quick overview. Let's look at some of the individual cards we have some images from, and these are from the wiki, which is once again listed in the description below. We'll start off here by having a look at the block mechanic first in Captain America. We've got two different cards that actually give us an idea of how this will work. Now this first card that we look at here, the best defense, this is purely a defensive card. We can see when you use a particular one you gain block equal to the damage dealt for 2 turns. Now you get 3 turns per round, so you'll be playing this turn number 1, and then for the remainder of the round, if you want to make the most of this card, then your 2 remaining cards will be damage based cards on Captain America. That's the first example of a block card we've got. We've got one which has got a bit of a twist on it, so let's have a look at that card. So this particular card then is called Shield Bash. You can see with this card you will consume 25% of the block that you built up to deal additional damage. So it offers a playstyle with Cap where you can build up your damage, you can go pure tank with him and just keep that additional block on him, or if you want to deal a little bit extra damage, make him a bit of a hybrid character, a damage dealer stroke tank, then you've got the option to do it via cards like this as well. So it's great to see options like this available. For this next set of cards here, and we have 3 in total, we'll have a look at the taunt mechanic, because what is the point in having block on your character if enemies aren't actually attacking them? So this is how you will generate the aggro for that to happen. The first and the most basic card we're looking at here is Quick Punch. This particular card, you will attack the enemy. In this instance you're doing 5 damage, you'll taunt that particular enemy. You'll notice it's got the quick affix attached to it as well. So what that actually means in game is if you defeat the enemy, you actually get the cost for that card back, so you can play an additional card that round. So as mentioned, that's the most basic card. Let's have a look at another taunt based card. So the next taunt based card we look at here is Shield Bounce. The last card we looked at was a more simpler one, it was single target. This one you'll see is actually taunted 5 enemies, which is pretty amazing. It does have a heroic cost associated with it. That's up the top left of the card, so it's 2 heroic points, and you get heroic points after every turn. So this is one that you'll need to build up to use, but it looks like it will be useful, especially because in this instance, as mentioned, it's 5 different enemies that are being taunted by this, and it's doing damage to them as well. So pretty amazing card. The final taunt based card we have here is a purely defensive one, but it offers 2 elements. So the first one, the card in question is called Dig In, but the first element of this is you'll select a particular ally, you'll then taunt all enemies that are targeting that ally. So that'd be great if that particular ally has perhaps got low health. On top of this as well, you'll gain block when you use it, so as much as you'll be taking extra attacks from enemies, you'll have that block to soak up the damage. So this again is going to be a really useful card. So this next card we look at here actually ties in really nice with the taunt ability that we looked at a moment ago, but on top of that we actually see 3 different upgrade tiers for this card as well, so you can get an idea of how powerful cards can get from their base version to their upgraded version. So the card in question is called Spang. When you throw this out, it's a single target attack, but if the target is targeting Captain America, so you'll use your taunt in order for that to happen, you'll do 36 damage to them. The next tier of upgrades for this particular one, you can see see that if the target is targeting, you do your 36 damage, but on top of that, on knockout you draw 2 cards, so that could be exceptionally useful. And then the final tier of upgrades is where the card gets really powerful, so you've got the same affixes on it. So if the target is targeting Captain America, 36 damage, on KO you draw 2 cards, but you'll notice the heroic cost for the card is actually 0, so you could use it as if it's a normal card. You don't have to build up your heroic meter first, so it's really nice to see the upgrades for the cards there, and it gives you an idea of how powerful they will actually get. On the subject of powerful cards, we have one more style of card to look at that we mentioned earlier on in the video, and then we'll finish up looking at the legendary card, which looks absolutely amazing. But this style of card we're looking at here, this is your knockback. It will actually be really useful because in some of the levels you're in, you can knock enemies off ledges and down holes and down even portals that Ghost Rider, for example, will summon to instantly knock out enemies. But the move in question we're looking at here is Brooklyn Handshake. So this particular one, this is tier 1, so it's a knockback. If the target was damaged, this becomes forceful. Forceful is essentially just when the target or the enemy is knocked back further. The tier 2 upgrade for this card, you can see it's knockback. If the target was damaged, it turns forceful, but on knockout you're drawn 2 cards. That's similar to the last upgrade we looked at. You've then got the final tier of this particular one. It's doing the same as before. You've got your forceful, you've got your knockback, you've got your 2 cards on KO. It applies to marked as well. Quite what marked is at this point I'm not actually sure, so if you do know, let me know in the comments below. But that's your knockback style cards. They're going to involve a lot of strategic play, but they could be incredibly powerful. But let's check out the final card here. This is a legendary one. So the final card that we'll look at here, the legendary card, this is unlocked by maxing out the friendship for a character. You do that by talking to them within the Abbey. The developers have advised that you can only max out the friendship rating for, I think it's around about 2 or 3 heroes per playthrough. Whether or not we can do a new game plus and eventually max out the whole team, it's not entirely clear. But with this system, when you're upgrading Steve Rogers from the gameplay footage we have, he gains a passive called All Day, which of course means I can do this all day, so that's pretty great. And with this, at the start of combat, he automatically gains blocks. That's really pretty nice there. But when you max out this system, you will unlock the legendary card, and we have got some gameplay and we've got the tool tips for that card as well. So I'll just mention then, while we've got some awesome gameplay footage playing out in the background of this card in action, that the legendary card you unlock when you max out your friendship on a character, at the same time you unlock the Midnight Suns costume for them. That's the costume you see at the moment, the black and gold one, and it's one that's on the box art for the game. But the card in question, as mentioned, legendary card, is called Shield Charge. So with this you can sumo block to damage each enemy in a line. I believe the damage it does will be based on the amount of block you have, so you want to get as much as you can before you use this. It costs 6 heroic power, which is a whopping amount. It adds the exhaust status effect. Quite what this is, I'm not actually sure. If you do know, then please do leave a comment below. The tier 2 upgrade for this one, you're doing your usual consumable block to damage enemies, but you also draw a card for each target you hit, so you could be drawing a fair amount of cards depending on how close the enemies all are together. And then the final upgrade for this particular card, it's got the usual block, convert into damage for enemies you hit, drawing additional cards for enemies you hit, but it also has a 25% chance to apply one marked. Once again, I'm not quite sure what marked is. So that is everything we know so far for Captain America and Marvel's Midnight Suns. He looks like he will be an incredibly strong tank style character, as he should be, and when it comes to the later difficulties, I really do imagine he'll be an incredibly important part of your team composition. Now, I do intend to do videos such as this for the other characters that are available in the game before it comes out, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to be doing that on my own without any support from the developers for Midnight Suns. The reason I'm saying that is I've reached out to the community managers, various different ones, on numerous occasions, and they've completely blanked me. So I'm taking from the fact that I'm a content creator, that first and foremost I stand up for players and my community, and I am outspoken. I've most likely been blacklisted by Marvel Games as a result of that. I wouldn't change anything. I would rather stand up for players than be someone that will stay quiet just to get early access to the game. But what that does mean in covering this game, it means I start a little bit behind other content creators potentially, so I really would appreciate it if you like the channel, if you like the content in the channel and you want to support me, take the time to hit the like, share and subscribe button. It is incredibly important and it does help out an absolute ton. Leave a comment below as well, because that actually helps out a ton as well. But I hope this video has been helpful. Let me know what you think of Captain America, what we've seen so far, and thanks for tuning in. Stay safe and I'll see you all again soon.